here. I'm here with Ben Carr from the Mighty Mighty Bosstones. We're on Lansdowne Street in Boston, right next to Fenway Park, and we're going to go interview the Mighty Mighty Bosstones before their show at the Hometown Throwdown tonight in Boston.
Desperately reading it all.
Alright, I'm here with the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, which is a real treat for us in Harmonix. I thought if we could just do a quick introduction so people know who you are, which instrument you play, and pick you out of a lineup, that'd be great.
I'm Tim, I play saxophone.
Ben, dancing guy.
Chris, trombone. Lawrence, guitar.
Awesome. And you guys just put out a brand new album, which I think is great. From like start to finish, it was just solid. It was really good. And we were wondering, Ben had told us that Ben works with us at Harmonix, by the way, if people on the community don't know that.
That's how they got this interview.
Yeah, otherwise these guys would never talk to
Cost
me.
big money.
Yeah. You guys are all sort of scattered around the world. So what is the process of writing and recording an album with all of you in different places?
Lawrence, you want to take that one?
The miracles of the World Wide Web.
Really?
I mean, you know, but throughout the process, we get together a good amount, whether it's you know, to rehearse for shows or you know, whatever it may be. But the main writers are always kind of trading ideas back and forth. So
Cool.
I can't uncover the mystery of the process too much. But,
Yeah, of course not.
you know, we take a trip to India.
Meet with the Maharishi.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we write the White Album.
Reference any Beatles or George Harrison, and that's pretty much what it looks like.
Yeah, sure.
Except we're in suits instead of.
But we do get together a lot.
Yeah.
Everybody would kind of go to LA for a week or two.
Cool. That's cool. So you're geographically, we've got, I think with Joe's in Vermont. One of the guys is in Berlin. Our multiple
Florida.
Florida.
I live in Florida.
Dickie's in LA.
Yeah.
You're in you're Providence.
Chris is in Connecticut. LA also. Lawrence,
Yeah. I think that's really cool. Like, and it's such a tight. It's
You know
a really
what,
good
though?
album.
Like,
too,
a lot of bands do that, and it took us such a long time to figure out that you can do that. Like, I remember going on the road with Pavement, like, there were bands like that, and they were like, yeah, I'm really into horse racing, so I live in Kentucky Downs, or whatever the place is called. So they were like New York, West Coast, you know, wherever. But we always just kind of lived in little apartments around Boston.
The goal is to get a man on each continent.
Antarctica is going to be the tough one.
Right.
I've entered into a program it's a research thing through the Coast Guard Auxiliary. But I'm hoping we'll get me there.
All right. You can cover We Are the World. Great.
We were just basically friends from the music scene, kids that hung around punk rock shows.
Right.
Snuck into punk rock shows, basically, but that's what we were. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of punk hardcore influences on the beginnings of the band.
It's when kids played real instruments, not those little plastic guitars.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know what that means. Well, speaking of that, actually for Rock Band 2, we got Where'd You Go? And you guys had to re-record that for the game, right?
Yeah, and with a little additional guitar challenge at the end.
Which is great.
I've heard it stumps a few people. No one over 10, but
I was a
actually
tester.
only people over 10.
Yeah, I was a tester on that game, and I remember getting to the end, just like I would fail out every time.
Nice, that was the goal.
Yeah.
I didn't really find it that hard, to tell you the truth.
I'm sure, yeah. You should see what it's like to actually play it.
Yeah.
I actually found it hard.
What's it like going back into the studio to record something that you recorded like 15 years ago? I guess there's a balance of trying to stay true to the original, but you've gained this much more experience since then.
I wasn't really involved in that process.
Oh, you weren't?
You should stop to speak to
Okay.
It's a fresh take on an older tune. It's refreshing.
Yeah.
It sounded
Good.
cool to me because it was harder and chunkier.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it was a little more driving too. It was really good.
I mean, as the band, you know, it changes, the sound changes too. So you know, when we play the songs live, they don't sound exactly like the record on us. Everything evolves basically,
totally.
and it's a forward evolution.
And as I mentioned, I wasn't involved in the fact that I played saxophone, which is currently not recognized by you guys.
But speaking of forward evolution, like this new album is so tight from start to finish, and Ben actually, I hadn't heard it until it came out, but Ben told me that you're gonna like it because
I didn't hear it.
I'm into the older, like the two-tone ska stuff, and it's really ska heavy, like classic ska sounding. And I don't know if that was an intention going into it.
Kind of, I think. I know Joe Gettleman wrote a lot of songs with that in mind, thinking that these are the songs he likes to play live, and so that's what he wrote. I mean, I think there's definitely the hard element to the album as well.
Yes, definitely.
But I know, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, it's definitely heavy on that kind of thing.
Yeah, and like right from the beginning, it almost sounded like a Madness track. It's like the end is near. It's just like one step beyond, you know. So just from the beginning, I was like tuned right in.
I think that ultimately the beauty of it is that there was very little calculation.
Yeah.
And very little goal other than making great music. So it was undercalculated and evolved very naturally.
That's great. And it seemed,
you know, with no pressure or no stigmas
Yeah.
to meet any sort of requirement.
It was
or,
definitely a ton of fun. And I would also give credit to the guy that produced the record, Ted Hutt. He was really the most hands-on producer we've ever worked with, and we worked with some great producers, but he really helped us break down the songs and build them up into like making them all they could be. And we also recorded a ton of songs, like way more that didn't make the record. So part of the vibe of the album was what we selected to kind of put on it out of what we did record.
wow, that's really cool. And it seemed like you were sort of, at least with the song Death Valley Vipers, it seemed like you're branching out. There's like a spaghetti western sort of tinge to it, and it's fantastic. Was that influenced by anything, or is it just like, let's try something new, let's do this?
Again, just a song that evolved in the time period. I think.
Kind of just challenging ourselves just to see what we can take something like that and see if we can pull it off. That's something we love to do.
Yeah.
Like, could we actually do this? Well, let's try.
And you did it. I'm interested in how you guys come up with the horn lines. Is it?
In a state of panic.
Like 5 minutes before they go to record.
Just, basically gave us a track and they stick us in practice rooms, and then here you go, and then come back later and see what you got.
Sometimes these guys will have a melody idea, or sometimes they'll even have like a finished idea. Really, that's like, this is what you should do, or what we really would like to hear. And then sometimes it's, see if you can come up with anything for this one. You know. So we're there throughout the whole process. So when they're working out, the chord changes, the kick pattern, we're trying little things,
Right.
So it's part of the process. I mean, it is, a lot of it does come out of just like, we have to come up with something, not to, toot our own horn or something, but I think it is something that sets us apart, because it is something that we really try really hard to be original with, and not just kind of throw on the first thing that comes to our heads.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, let me write that.
Write that down.
I sing into my iPhone.
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, the arrangements dictate a lot of where the parts belong, and I mean, it's just a natural part of the process of arranging and composing music.
Does it happen sometimes maybe the horns will come first, like you have a melody and then the song comes around that, or is it usually the horns?
That's impossible.
No?
It's never happened.
It can happen, but it's unusual,
Yeah.
certainly. But yeah, I mean, Chris wrote a song in another album that was basically a horn riff.
Oh, cool.
That's the whole song.
That's great. So I wanted to talk about the Hometown Throwdown, which is ongoing right now. It's an annual, for the most part, an annual thing you guys have done for, this is the 12th year it's happening. It's a Boston specific showcase. How did the idea for the Throwdown get started?
I think it was, we toured a lot way back when, and Boston fans were like, "You never play Boston anymore." And if we did, it would be like some big giant, you know, sold out show, and everyone kind of pissed at us. So it was a way to give back to the Boston fans where we started from. It's like, oh, okay, well, I think it started Middle East, and we put it on 3 nights, and those sold out, so we did a 4th night, and just kind of put it on until everyone was sort of happy, and it worked out to be 5 nights. Sort of how it started, to give back to the Boston fans, because we never played here. A few years we realized we're just touring all the time, we never played before.
That's really cool. And now that you guys aren't so much a touring band, I think it's really cool that instead of, as you were saying, used to be touring so much, Boston got kind of left out. Now it's like we get all the love.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
and
we
I
don't
think
play anywhere else, just here.
yeah, and I think the fans appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Yes, I appreciate
This
it.
is unbelievable, being able to come to a very large venue like this and have, pack the house out every night.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
And I gotta say, Aaron and I were lucky enough to sit in the sound check just now. You guys work your asses off. You're not just showing up for a gig. It was
I wish.
hour and a half long sound check, and you were adding new things at the last minute. And
I was up at 6 in the morning, learning songs.
Well, I mean, there is a lesson there, for all you young, budding rock stars.
Stop now and go to college.
Yeah. Really, when you're going to your rock band competition at your local pub, make sure you put a lot of work in.
But I mean, it does pay off. I mean, we've always approached it with a kind of blue-collar attitude. That's our background, That's what we've always done, is just work really hard at it.
yeah, and it comes through so well when you see the actual show. Like I heard Dickie say, we gotta hit the new songs just as hard as we do all the old ones, and you guys do. And I think that's pretty amazing for an album that came out a couple weeks ago.
Show this to Dickie.
Yeah.
Tell him that we're hitting those new ones just as hard.
I mean, I've listened to the album a bunch, and I was just there now, and you guys are nailing it. And I think that's really impressive for an album that came out 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now. So it should be commended.
Multi-platinum.
Naturally. So what's next for? Is there gonna be any tour to support the album, or anything big coming up over the course of the year?
We're fielding offers. That's pretty much the way we run the operation now. People offer us gigs and kind of figure out if people's schedules can do it, and if we can, we go. So I think that we'd like to get out and do a little bit more than we did last year. The year before was great. We did a ton of shows. And
We only did 7 last year.
slow. Yeah. I mean, as you know, the music business has changed quite a bit, and we're kind of, thinking of new ways to get out there. But we're basically dragging the same old dog and pony show to each town, so we don't have anything too new to offer anybody.
Well,
But we'll hope
quite an understatement.
We're keeping our fingers crossed. But I mean, a lot of these guys are busy with a lot of really cool other projects too. So it's not like we're sitting around,
Right.
waiting for Bosstones shows. Dickie's on TV. Lawrence is doing a ton of stuff in LA. Ben's working with you guys. So
Ben's your boss. At least that's what he said.
so
Ben's telling
the
you
band,
what to do.
the status of the band right now is really cool for everybody. That we can. I didn't mean it to sound like it's a downer, like we're waiting for gigs to come in. It's like we're all stoked with what we do, and then this is just icing on the cake to be able to get together and rock out for a long weekend or something.
Gotta go.